is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
There he is. How you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
Good. You know what, that Cutter's Edge Total Landscaping music kind of fires me up when we get ready for this segment. That happens all the time. I took special note of whose company that was this week. I like it. Kind of rocks.
Cutter's Edge. Yeah, they Will's great people. He was actually hanging out with us over at Walk-Ons on Saturday for the Canes game, watching that debacle as Clemson dismantled the Canes 40-10. He's a big. I
got plenty of room on the Iowa Hawkeye bandwagon for you, Big O. Come on, come on.
Yes.
On here.
Yeah, hopefully Mario will straighten this thing out for a bit. By the way, I'm a big believer in your boy, right? But I still have that issue, and I hope he learns to beat people from the pocket. He has all the talent in the world, but when I saw him injure his shoulder this week, it was just one of those, like, don't be Lamar, bro. Don't live on the legs. You better learn.
I don't know if you're watching the game in real time, but he was well before he injured the shoulder. He obviously was running like crazy all afternoon. They were working on his hamstrings at every break, every time he went to the sideline, and it was best case scenario. It turned out to just be cramping. He had an IV almost immediately after the game. But like he was already experiencing, like the hamstring trouble. And they came out of, those final drives, they were still calling designed runs for him, which just seemed a little bit unnecessary. And it was on one of those that he injured the shoulder. And then like he took another hard shot a little bit later than that. And he was literally screaming on the field. So this is all by way of saying that it wouldn't surprise me if they held him out this week. It's a, there's no reason.
Teach him to win from the goddamn pocket.
Well,
bro.
I'll say something else. Like I don't really worry about that because he's got there aren't 10 quarterbacks in the NFL that have a better arm, like just in terms of like live arm. He can put it anywhere on the field. So I'm a lot less worried about that. Like this is a weird comparison to make, but I would be more concerned with, if I were a Steelers fan and like Kenny Pickett were my quarterback and I know that he can't make every throw and he misses a lot of layups too.
He's young and so that's fine. I can deal with him learning, but at least that's who he is. But the runners, they will have problems as they get to the playoffs because they're going to shut your run down. You're not going to end up winning it all. And it just doesn't happen.
I suppose I'm just saying that Justin Fields.
Go ahead.
No, I suppose I'm just saying that Justin Fields already has a skill set that I don't think is present, like just passing wise. Let's not even talk about the running. I think he's got an arm and he's got some instincts that just don't exist for a lot of the other league's young pocket passer quarterbacks. So I think his ceiling is still pretty exceptional. And he's also just at a point in his career where I'm not even like this second season. Let's just see some traits. Let's just see some traits that are going to potentially translate into stardom. Because they have, it because you've been watching the league's best receiving core all year. The Bears have a garbage receiving core, right? Darnell Mooney's fine and he's pretty fast, but they don't he's put the ball in people's hands. The interception that sealed the game hit David Montgomery in both hands. It was a little high, but it was totally catchable. They just don't have guys making plays for them. They've got all the money in the world to spend in the offseason. So I'll be mad if they can't, do the thing that all the good teams did, that the Dolphins did, that the smart teams did this past draft and acquire somebody ahead of the draft, right? Like, that's what I want. I want my Tyreek Hill.
Well, wait a minute, but that's a catch-22. Tyreek Hill would never sign in Baltimore. Doesn't matter what you offer him. Do you know why? He's not going to get the ball because they're going to still be a running team. And that's where my problem with these running quarterbacks and why
AJ Brown went to Philly. Like, and AJ Brown's doing just fine. And he's pretty happy there.
AJ Brown didn't go by choice. He went by trade. Right? He got traded.
But nobody's trading for him unless he's willing to sign a long extension.
That's my point is that you're not going to lure somebody in there in free agency. You're going to have to either trade for them or draft them is the way you're going to do it.
Well, there's nobody available in free
In
agency, which is
Baltimore. Wait a minute. In Baltimore. We haven't gotten to that point yet in Chicago. This is what I'm trying to tell you is that you have to get to the point where you prove that he's a passer more than a runner. If it becomes a running offense, you're not going to be sexy to elite receivers. They will not walk over there and sign with you. You're going to have to trade for him or draft them. So then that becomes a challenge a little bit for Chicago because receivers are divas, bro. Did you watch the Bills game yesterday? It's halftime,
sure.
and Stephon Diggs is crying like a little bitch to his coach that I'm not getting the ball. And it's like, dude, you've been getting the ball tons for years now since you've been in Buffalo. So for a half now, things aren't going your way. You're whining like a little bitch. Hollywood Brown, who's not really that good, he's like a decent receiver. He's not this great receiver. He said, oh, I don't feel like I'm a part of this offense when he was in Baltimore. So my point is that the kid needs to develop from the pocket more than he is doing right now. Because if you do end up becoming a running offense, it limits you, one, and two, it will also limit you on the free agent side. You won't be nearly as sexy as
my response to that would just be that the Bears are almost, with the exception of not having a ready-to-win defense, the Bears are offensively at almost the exact spot that the Eagles were last year. They had a developing quarterback who was clearly a run-first quarterback who missed a ton of throws, who I would argue does not have the arm talent that Justin Fields does, and they still found A.J. Brown out. Granted, there was a pre-existing relationship between A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, who was willing to sign an extension with your team. I just got to feel like somebody's going to be willing to sign an extension with the Bears and develop over the next 3 or 4 years with Justin Fields.
Yeah, no, and by the way, Jalen Hurts, still not good enough. I do not fear Jalen Hurts in the playoffs. Not at all. You will not. Eventually, you will stop all these runners. Even if they run like the wind, like Lamar, they'll force you into that pocket. And if you're not used to beating people in the pocket, you're not going to start doing it in the playoffs. And that's where Lamar fails every single time because he has yet to learn to play from the pocket. He has.
I will say I think it's a bigger deal in the AFC because the Chiefs will put 35 on you, the Dolphins will put 35 on you, right? Like you're going to have to run into some teams that no matter how well you play defensively, they're just going to put up a big number. Like you're not going to hold them down. I don't like the Eagles.
There are a lot of those in the NFC. You're right. There aren't a lot of those in the NFC right now.
Yeah, like maybe the Cowboys have a day. Maybe you've got a good defense though. Like maybe the Cowboys have a day. Maybe the Bucks figure things out, but they're not where the Dolphins and the Chiefs are right now. Like those teams, anybody from any era, I don't know, roll the 85 Bears out there, and they're like they'll put 38 on them, right? Like they're just too good. So more of an arms race to me in the AFC right now than the NFC.
I like Justin Fields. I'm a big Justin Fields fan. I just want to see him win from the pocket, and if he does that, that's when he becomes completely unstoppable. I need him to become more Russell Wilson. In other words, young Russell Wilson, of course.
Russell Wilson. Let's make that important distinction.
Not the one now. Yeah, not the one now. Although now the one now, I'm still kind of a little confused. It's some of him and some of what's going on with Hackett and all of that because I think he's also not being cut.
They need to turn over the entire coaching staff. Like I don't even know what to say. Like the loss that they just suffered, the fact that they can't stop scoring like 16 points. I mean, they gotta I don't know. You handed over the play calling to some lesser Kubiak and that didn't work. You still scored 16 points. Like they gotta turn it over in the offseason, which is crazy because they just signed them all.
No, I'm with you. I mean, we went through it for 2 years with Flo. He just could not figure out anything on the offense. It was just absolutely brutal. All right, if you guys want to get in those fantasy questions, send them in right now on the Welt and Rayom text line at 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056. If you got them, you can send them in also on the chat board here on the YouTube chat board. Sage is asking, should I drop Gerald Everett and Mike Williams looking to claim Atwell, Cole, and Carter? D. Carter.
Man, Atwell, you're like, why go out of your way to try to acquire shares of the Rams offense? It's probably not going to be Stafford at quarterback next week. I don't know. Maybe they shut him down.
Isn't that guy's name
Yeah,
Tutu?
like all he did
I
was
mean,
catch
don't you
one
want a
deep
Tutu
ball.
on your team? I mean, I want a Tutu on my team.
Unless this is just utter resignation and I mean, it's fine to drop Gerald Everett, injured player if you want to pick up somebody who might actually be useful, but like you have the wrong collection of names here. The receivers who are available in a majority of Yahoo leagues right now who might be of interest, I would say would be, Treylon Burks is coming off an exceptional performance on Thursday night, his best game of the year, one of the best games that we've seen a rookie receiver have. He was clowning Jair Alexander. Like, that's an interesting player. Sky Moore was a little bit interesting with like no Chiefs receivers healthy right now. You could talk me into Sky Moore. He just saw 6 targets, caught 5 of them. That was pretty good. Donovan Peoples-Jones has been quietly really good for like 6-7 straight weeks now. Those are the guys I might consider. I think we'll probably hear that I would expect that Mike Williams is going to have to miss some time. I'm a little bit shocked that he played. Like, he made one sensational catch, didn't appear to even really like twist the ankle that was already injured. He had it so heavily taped and then had to check out. I'd be really surprised if they roll him out there again in the same state. He's got to take a couple more weeks off. I mean, it was a high ankle sprain, and you commend him for coming back, right? Because they're at a point in their season where they got to win games. But I'd be surprised if he's back next week. So it's that I understand dropping these guys, but you are not targeting Tutu Atwell.
All right, there you go. Although, if you really want a Tutu, I get it. Mahomes is my QB with no backup. Do I drop Buffalo's defense for a backup or run with Buffalo and New England's defenses for the rest of the season?
Yeah, that's a pretty good tandem. Like I have a version of this person's problem because I've got the New England defense on some teams, and I will say they've got some dicey matchups coming up. Like, they've still got division games against good teams, not against the Jets offense. Like, they've got some tricky spots ahead. Who do they have this week? I think they've got the Vikings this week on Thanksgiving, right? So that's obviously the Vikings just got stomped, but that's still a really talented team. The Patriots aren't an ideal start in this one. So I kind of like that as a combo. Like, you've got Patrick Mahomes too. So you're never going to you're just going to add somebody on the bench, and there's no reason to worry about Patrick Mahomes anymore. If he gets hurt, you're toast anyway. You're not going to feel any better because you've got Derek Carr on your bench or Trevor Lawrence on your bench. Your fate kind of is tied at this point to Patrick Mahomes' health. So yeah, I would just stick with one quarterback.
I give the Patriots credit. Bringing all those MILFs and putting them all over the stadium really kept that kid busy. That was smart on Belichick's part this time. He didn't mess with any radios. He didn't, do anything. No, he just said, let's bring a lot of older women into the stands. So
Speaking, by the way, of young quarterbacks that are just not developing in the correct way.
I've never been a Zach guy.
Yeah, I wasn't a Zach guy coming out, mostly because, his one big collegiate season, he had basically the best offensive line in the country, never felt any pressure, had all day to make throws. And then the one time they saw a good defense, I think it was Coastal Carolina, he had a terrible day. Like, I wasn't a big Zach guy, but I am still surprised that he cannot make the layup throws. Like, they can't even have a screen game with Zach Wilson because he can't hit simple stuff. He sails the easiest throws in the game. Like, they give him some early, what should be layup throws. Let's get him in a rhythm, and he misses those. And you've got, receivers barking at him.
Just like Jamarcus Russell, he had this great workout.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I get it that he's got some traits that you like, but none of them are like high level off the charts traits. And if you can't do the really simple stuff, and I'm not even talking about like, deep outs, intermediate throws, stuff like that, timing routes. I'm talking about he can't throw a screen pass. It was a problem last year. It's a problem this year. Like, I don't know how you move forward with him.
All right. Thoughts as Rondale Moore as a waiver pickup flex spot?
Yeah, he's good. This is like, here's a good example of somebody who, if they were out there, I would target over Tutu Atwell. Rondale Moore his usage is a little weird because he is generally targeted like at the line of scrimmage. But he's a great after the catch receiver. Huge talent, getting a lot of targets right now. And the Zach Ertz injury, it certainly benefits him in terms of target totals, especially with Marquise Brown coming back. Like they're going to have, they're not going to have Ertz, but they're going to have Brown. They're going to have Hopkins. They're going to have Moore. These are three really complementary receivers. Do I trust the coach to maximize them? No, not necessarily. But Moore's seeing plenty of targets, and he's a really talented player. So yeah, I'm Rondell Moore is actually rostered right now in something like 80% of Yahoo leagues. So you're lucky that he's actually out there for you.
All right, somebody's asking, what do I do with Cooper Kupp? And another guy is asking Omar Lopez, should I drop Cooper Kupp? So two different Cooper Kupp questions that came in. How do you handle it, I guess?
Yeah, not a guy that I think you need to keep on the roster right now, especially if he's just, if you don't have IR and he's just burning a bench spot and, you got to win now. Like, I mean, it's a high ankle situation. He's not coming back anytime soon, and I don't know why they wouldn't shut him down.
Okay. What should I do with D. Pierce? He's on a terrible team and doesn't have a pretty schedule coming up. Should I start Jeff Wilson over him or add Peroni on the waiver wire?
Oh, I assume he's looking at Samaje Perine, who might be useful for a week if Joe Mixon remains in the concussion protocol. Dameon Pierce is great, and you should keep him and you should start him. I will say the setup for Jeff Wilson is outstanding this week. Facing Houston, right? You guys face Houston this week. Yes. The worst run defense in the league. Highly exploitable. He's coming off a game with 17 carries. So like we're starting Jeff Wilson everywhere. But Dameon Pierce is like he's right at or near the top of the league right now in missed tackles forced. He's as elusive as anybody in the game. He happened to just face an opponent that sold out to stop him, and there's nothing else that Houston can do offensively, and it worked. But he's put up big games against like the Eagles. He's put up big games against good defenses. So I wouldn't view Pierce as somebody that you just have to send to the bench rest of season. But if you want to start, like I'll probably have Wilson ranked ahead of him this week, in large part because the offense is so good and the defense he's playing is so poor.
I'd have Tua throw like 10 times this week, and I'm running like 50 on their asses. Joey Vasquez, can I trust Olave as a flex going forward? I'm looking to add either Robinson from the Ravens, Peoples-Jones, or Pickens from the waiver wire. Who do you like from those three?
My God, Chris Olave is like a wide receiver 1 moving forward. He's like a wide receiver 2. He's great. He's an absolute star. I know that he's tied to Andy Dalton, and that is not optimal, but he's, it's been Olave and Tyreek Hill at the top of the league in terms of air yards this season. So there's a lot of opportunities here. Beautiful touchdown reception this past week, a long ball. That was good to see. Olave is great, and he can absolutely be trusted as more than a flex. If you have Chris Olave in the flex, you have a stacked team. People are going to add DeMarcus Robinson. I think he probably just had the best game of his season. Caught all of his targets, 9 targets, 128 yards. It's a good game. I wouldn't expect it moving forward. They're probably still going to lean on tight ends a lot, where Devin Duvernay is going to have more games. They lean on the running game. Like I wouldn't expect that from Robinson very often. The one name that you said that was super interesting is George Pickens, who also, like Olave, has absolute alpha star potential. They should build their receiving game around him going forward. He's great. The catches that he's capable of, there's not more than 5-6 guys in the league who can do some of the things that he can. So I'm fully sold on George Pickens. If he's available in any leagues, he should be rostered.
Yeah, Pickens looks like he's got some serious toughness at that position. All right, what are you working on this week so folks can check you out at Yahoo Sports?
Yeah, I'm going to have our pickups column live very early tomorrow. It's basically written already, and I'm recording a pickups podcast with Matt Harmon in just a couple hours here. We will be talking Samaje Perine. We will be settling the priorities for you at receiver, at tight end, at quarterback. So please check it out. And everybody have a good Thanksgiving, by the way. You too, Big O.
Have a great Thanksgiving, my friend, and don't eat too much turkey. That tryptophan will knock your ass out. So.
Oh, yeah, I'd hate to miss that Patriots-Vikings game that night.
Yes, there you go. We'll catch up next week, my friend. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
You too, brother.
You got it. That is our Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone. We leave the zone, and then we will go to Alan Poupar and talk a little Miami Dolphins next.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.